covering my eyes with her hands. What was left of the Lucifer factory was declared unsafe and closed down soon after. You might think my dad would want to move away from Lucifer Street and the terrible reminders of the accident. But in the end he could not bear to leave the yellow curtains and white trim that Mama had painted herself. He certainly did not wish to move into the chateau apartment village, as Aunt Carmen, his in-town sister, suggested. Aunt Carmen was always telling Dad what he ought to do. "Get your life back on the tracks and find a good woman, Oscar," Aunt Carmen whispered loudly to Dad every time she had the littlest chance. "The boy needs a mother, and you need a wife to keep your hair short and make you some casserole dinners." "That goes double, Carmen," my dad always replied. Aunt Carmen lived alone in a little house full of bisque figurines. Squirrel silhouettes were cut into the house's shutters. It was explained to me that Aunt Carmen had never married because the Great War had taken the lives of so many young men that there were not enough to go around. "A good man is a darn sight harder to find than a good woman," Aunt Carmen always answered my dad with a sniff. Oftentimes a picture floated through my mind of the wife that Aunt Carmen had in mind for us. She looked like the lady on the Coca-Cola calendar, black hair parted on the side, dress with the stripes going across diamond-wise, big red lips showing off her white teeth. "I will never be so lucky again as to find anyone like your mother," Dad said. "A new wife would make trouble and get in the way." What he meant was she would have gotten in the way of the trains in our basement. Instead, Dad and I lived a peaceful life, with me, Oscar Jr., in charge of cooking just as soon as I could reach the stove. In second grade, I was big enough, standing on a sturdy chair, to flip our Sunday pancakes and fry our breakfast sausage. Our weekly menu was casserole-free. This is what it looked like. Monday, lamb chops and fried potatoes. Tuesday, fried chicken, canned green beans, fried potatoes. Wednesday, hamburger, fried potatoes, and tomatoes. Thursday, hot dogs and beans. Friday, beefsteak and carrots. Saturday, pork chops and cabbage. Sunday, ham and gravy with pineapple rings. The menu never changed from week to week because it satisfied. There was just enough variety to keep us from getting bored, but nothing like liver or spinach to scare us away. I bought all our groceries at Reuben's Market after school, charging them to our account. Then I walked the groceries home, set them on the counter, and began to prepare our evening meal. We did just fine on our own, Dad and me. Dad had a steady job with the John Deere Company, selling tractors to the farmers. He even had a telephone installed right in the front hall, much to the dismay of Aunt Carmen. For my part, I kept my shoes shined and my homework was always finished. Dad and I agreed we had no need whatever of a new wife. So that wife never did happen. It was just as well. A wife would have been putting on her lipstick all the time and giving me cod liver oil. In the beginning, Dad had set up our first layout to pull himself out of the widower doldrums. It was a simple one-looper. He made the station out of basswood, painted pumpkin yellow just like the real railway station in downtown Cairo. He cut 8 little signs and painted them white with Cairo in blue, just as it was on the real signs. I hung them off the eaves of the station's shingled roof with chrome-beaded keychains. We laid eastward tracks and westward tracks. The track beds were made of carefully dribbled bird gravel on a layer of carpenter's glue. Then Dad ordered signals and an electrically operated gate out of the Lionel catalog to go with our first train, a standard work train. Dad took a sable brush that had maybe 6 hairs to it. He painted Sioux Line Happy Warrior on the side of the engine in red paint, exactly like on the real Sioux Line. Our Happy Warrior had a lumber car with logs as long as cigarillos, 2 cattle cars, a Kohler, a caboose, and a refrigerated car that had small cubes of glass ice inside, each no bigger than one of my Parcheesi dice. The Warrior was followed by a commuter train, which we called the South Shore Special. We ran it from Chicago to the dunes of Indiana and back. The passenger cars were rigged with real electric lights inside. We put together 3 stop stations on that commuter express. They came from the Ives Company, which made the most detailed stations. Then Dad bought us the biggest steam engine in the catalog. It was a 260 series with marked